Today on TimesCast, the high murder rate in Juarez, Mexico makes private security a thriving business. The media's coverage of WikiLeaks shifts in tone.
I think more broadly what we're seeing is damage being done possibly to the WikiLeaks brand.
And a behind-the-scenes look at a special Oscar issue of the Times magazine. More than 28,000 people have been killed in Juarez since Mexico's President Felipe Calderón began his drug war offensive nearly 4 years ago. The violence makes private security a booming business in the border city. A report from videographers Brent and Craig Renault.
Nada más de que pues vi que no llega ninguna patrulla y por eso le estoy marcando. La mamá y los familiares lo acaban de cubrir con una cobija de color azul. In all Juarez, every day is the same scene. The only change is the bodies.
Miguel Macias runs a private security company in Juarez, Mexico, a border city that has become the murder capital of the world as drug cartels battle over lucrative smuggling routes into the United States.
Do you see the minivan? It's one body. This is why my company have a lot of job here in Juarez.
Murder, kidnapping, and extortion are daily problems for the citizens of Juarez.
Tenemos mucho problema porque hay un grupo también de jóvenes amenazando al comité de vecinos.
Typical of Miguel's clients is real estate developer Gabriel Indiri. Miguel provides his personal security and that of his company.
So do you need an undercover guard with gun?
The key issue is how can we put those guys out of the neighborhood? Because those guys are ready to use the gun in any minute.
The body is in the middle of the street. In only 1 hour, this is the third event. I live, I work in the hot area, in the war. It's a good business, but it's too dangerous.
The growing violence in Juarez has made Miguel's company very successful over the past 2 years. But for Miguel and his family, success comes with a price.
The kids see every day the violence in the streets. So probably I moved my family to El Paso. I not like living in the United States. But the important is not me. It's my kids.
Brent and Craig Renault, reporting for the New York Times, Juarez, Mexico.
A day after the arrest of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, his supporters have claimed credit for hacking into websites of companies that de-linked from the operation. And the media coverage of the WikiLeaks story seems to be shifting. Will WikiLeaks be redefined?
On Tuesday, Julian Assange surrendered to British authorities, but it sort of changed the story. He had been the one who was directing the media, and I was struck by the tableau of him reporting to the court, and there were dozens and dozens of cameras pointed at him.
That's right. This investigation into possible sex crimes in Sweden has him behind bars now. And what we're really seeing is a shift, I think, in the coverage, both of Julian Assange and of WikiLeaks. You know, over the last 10 days, we've seen lots of coverage of these State Department cables that have come out. And what we've seen, I think, very recently is a shift in tone about what WikiLeaks is and what it represents.
A lot of us were using the term whistleblower to describe WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks.org, a whistleblower website.
Someone who left the whistleblower website, and the man behind this whistleblower website.
And the U.S. government and others push back against that. How come?
Because that has an official legal definition that speaks to people doing the right thing by exposing injustice or criminal activity. In this case, it may not fit that legal definition, and so the White House and others put pressure on media outlets to stop using that term. I think more broadly what we're seeing is damage being done possibly to the WikiLeaks brand, maybe making people less likely to leak in the future.
Many of the media outlets who had been more or less practically partnered with WikiLeaks now find themselves in the role of trying to figure out whether this guy is a villain, a hero,
or maybe both.
And this week's magazine profiles the actors who defined cinema in 2010. The magazine's director of photography, Kathy Ryan, takes us behind the scenes of a video feature that accompanies the issue.
We decided this year for our annual Oscars portfolio to do something different. we commissioned a series of videos in which the actors practiced their craft. And the concept was to basically take the classic moments that recur in film and give them to an actor. The director of the films is Solveig Sundsbo. He also did the portraits in the magazine. Solveig was very conscious of keeping them very stylized. We didn't attempt to put the actors in locations. We had minimal propping. So the notion was, in the end, we'd be saying to the actor, you do it yourself, and I think they did it brilliantly. We were very happy to be able to photograph Michael Douglas, and on that one it was a very simple concept, the idea of the powerful man sitting in the high-backed chair, Al Pacino in The Godfather, or Michael Douglas in Wall Street, and he just came in and he sat down and we did, in his case, a very simple one. Solveig came up with the idea for the James Franco. His is the moment in film of the monologue somebody has with themselves in the mirror. It's fun. I'm going to leave it at that. Owen Pallett composed the music. Owen is a multi-instrumentalist who's worked with a number of bands, including Arcade Fire, and he booked the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra to record the music, and the recording was done in Prague. You know, people are used to when they're photographed, they come to a studio and they sit and pose. And I don't know, I just think that creative people like to be asked to do what they do.
You can watch all 14 scenes at nytimes.com/magazine. Join us again tomorrow for TimesCast.